Welcome to the Lonely Goalpost. Football is more than 90 minutes. It's memories, emotions, people and places. It's the goals we celebrated, the defeats we never forgot, and the stories we still tell years later. In this first episode, we look at the FIFA World Cup. We explore the 2026 tournament. We look at the players, as well as looking at the teams and also moments that shaped our football journeys. Whether your memories began in Mexico 86, France 98 or beyond, we hope this conversation brings a few of those special football moments flooding back. I'm Simon Higgins and this is the Lonely Goalpost. Right, welcome to the Lonely Goalpost podcast. This is the first one. Beautiful game for beautiful memories. So basically, I've been writing a blog for a long time. I should introduce myself. My name's Simon Higgins, teacher in Dorset. And I've been writing a blog about football since lockdown. And I've threatened to do a podcast for a while. But luckily, one of our friends we're going to speak to today jollied me along yesterday. And here we are. So basically, the Lonely Goalpost is when you see... I'm one of these people, when I walk past a football pitch and I see a goal, it just takes me back to looking when I used to play football. And I look at little muddy goals and memories come in. And it's probably why I didn't make it as a professional footballer, because as a goalkeeper, I was always daydreaming. I would always let one in. And the idea of it was to write a blog, but I think it's easier to talk now because, as you can probably tell, I like talking. And it's about sharing memories, sharing why you love football, talking about today's football. It provokes so much discussion, but also provokes so much nostalgia. And I think a lot of us are craving that. So that's basically what it is. So that's me. That's the Lonely Goalpost. We'll go into a bit more, but we thought we'd have a World Cup edition. And I'm going to introduce you to two of my friends, because actually this is the main thing, and this is the real reason why I did this, was I want to hear from everyday people talking about everyday football, because it's the game of the masses, and it's not just for like I don't know, Micah Richards and Alan Shearer and Gary Neville to babble on all the time and get the sound bites. I think it's for the real people, and real people have the best thing to say in a calm environment, not trying to rant and rave on 606 or Talksport. So here we go, nice calm discussion, but who knows where we're going to go. So I've got two real people from Poole in Dorset, the finest place in the world. And first of all, the first person is a football connoisseur. I used to see him dribbling around the streets of Poole, and I'm not talking about the excitement of watching Beverly Hills Cop 2 or eating a tuna paste sandwich. And that person is none other than Mr. Daniel Birchall. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Simon. Thank you for having me on your
Uh,
Lonely Golf.
oh, it's a pleasure. I've shared many a football discussion with you, and I know you're going to teach me a thing or two today, because you're probably more up to date than I am. And you will. And the next person, well, he's an uncompromising fellow. Okay, he's strong on the pitch, he's strong off the pitch. I've had the pleasure to play a few matches with him. We've had some good times, but he's full of opinion, and he's not afraid to ruffle a few feathers. He's a bit of a legend, strong man. He's the tattoo butcher himself, Mr. Sean Griffiths.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured to be a part of this little podcast, mate. Thanks for having me.
Well, Sean, it was your text that got me going yesterday, and Daniel's been in the backgrounds as well. So I think you two are perfect people. So yeah, Sean, let's start with you. I'll start with you there. Daniel can wait in the wings. You'd be a little bit of a winger, didn't you, Daniel? But come on, very quickly then, Sean. Just why? What do you love about footy? Go on.
Look, mate, it's been a part of my life since I was about 7 years old. First memories of football. It's the belonging, mate, isn't it? You know, you can say I've got my United top. You know, you're part of a team. You're part of a sort of a family, and this family can take you all over the world, mate. No matter where you are, it's a universal language, isn't it? It's a way to introduce yourself to new people. It brings people together, causes debate, and it's just a good topic of conversation. Obviously, over the years, I've played for a number of clubs, you know, locally. Some of my best life memories of being with those lads, be it in the changing rooms or, you know, down the Cockle Show and Pool on a Sunday afternoon after a big win. So it's that togetherness as well, the feeling you get, the emotion, the passion, the memories. It's just, you know, everything in one. It's just, you can't really put it into words to do it justice for me.
Everyone's always a teammate, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
But
obviously, I like, inclusive as well. You can play
yeah,
football and it's 11 men on the pitch and the rest off of it. It's just yeah, it's a team sport and it brings you all together. And like I say, I've got friendships for life, to be fair, I
yeah,
hope, So it's certainly
massively.
given me some amazing memories over the years. More playing than watching, being, with England and that. But, with United, I've had some great memories over the years as well. So yeah, that's
Fantastic.
that's it in a nutshell, really.
And what
Glad
I
you didn't
love,
go too much about how many good memories you had in the changing rooms with the lads. So I felt that might have gone down a different path just then.
Well, especially
hey,
when you got the likes of like Batesy, as one of your main men, like it can always go down a slippery slope with him.
listener, that young man's called John Bates, and I'm sure we have a few stories about him through the years. If this podcast continues, we don't.
Everyone's got a story about John.
Yeah, what a legend he is. But we go on
Yeah.
to you, Daniel. Why footy for you?
Do you know, it's probably the first memory I think really is football. There wasn't a lot to do around where we grew up, right? So I think it just brought everyone together. It's a nice mix of age ranges, I guess, uh, across Perry Gardens. I was going
What a
across the
place?
green. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A legendary place. And so yeah, I think it was a first real memory. I think it kind of it was the main staying point pretty much from there and forever. Really, like everything that's gone on in my life, all my pals, everybody that I've sort of have an affinity with, even when I, at work, people I make friends with at work now. It's all around football. It's that kind of draw in that sort of tribalism that football brings. And I think it's the only game in the world that kind of just brings that sort of different levels of emotion. I don't think there's anything else that does it. So yeah, I mean, it got me hooked early, and then I mean, I wish I could even put it into words. I don't think I can. I think it's football, right? It just hooked me.
I think you're right. I think both of you were two great answers because if you think about it, it sometimes the best sort of football is unspeakable. You can't really speak about anything, can you? And and then you've got the teammate emphasis as well, and when you just bring it all together, it's just so powerful. And I think it can be like a great for good in terms of local communities, bringing people together. And there's so much we could go on to. And I think that they're great starting points because as it's the World Cup, I think we're going to smooth into that. But I think we will come back to a lot of our real world sort of memories because I think there's so much to draw on. But as we've got the World Cup coming, it's gonna let's be honest, the world's gonna go crazy. England's gonna go crazy. I haven't heard anyone say it's coming home yet, but that will happen. There's gonna be I was just looking at the Panama game. It's on a Saturday night. That's a 10 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night. We know that's going to be a crazy day. People are going to go out drinking very early. Hopefully, it's going to be a great day for people. But you want it to be remembered for the right reasons, don't we? And hopefully, a really good England win. And I suppose just before we go and talk about England, I come back to you, Sean. Can talk about World Cup memories, and we've all got our World Cup memories. What about you? What's your favourite World Cup memory?
I mean, there's so many over the years for different reasons, but
Just the ones
I
that you can
guess
remember before you get into the pub.
yeah, memorable ones in a way. I guess for me, my sort of for England, speaking about England, that is, I would say 2002 against Argentina.
Yeah,
I remember being at school. I was at Pool High. It was a midweek game. It was like 12 o'clock kickoff, something stupid like that. It was just right in the middle of the day.
an
And I
early
was
one.
in science. And I remember my science teacher, Mr. Almond, he was like, right, we're not doing class today. We're watching the 30. And
Proper
the class
teacher.
just went mental. It was unheard of. I'd never, never
Yeah.
been allowed anything like that at school. So we went wild. It went through lunch, but we didn't care. We just watched the game, even for our lunch break. Obviously, on the back of '98, where Argentina knocked us out, Beckham got sent off. There's a lot of rivalry there, historically, in a way. Even way before that. And
Yeah.
obviously, that game, 2002, Beckham scores the penalty, massive pressure. First half, we went in 1-0 up. And that was it, really. Yeah, second half, we hung on for dear life, and Argentina were doing typical Argentina things, dirty, cheating for
Horrible.
fouls. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just bit of gamesmanship. And it was
Yeah.
just a real typical gritty British or English sort of
Yeah.
performance, I guess. We won it
Ferdinand
1-0.
and Campbell were immense.
Yeah, and I just remember like that for me really, and I do remember '98. You know, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, sorry, but so my memories are a bit, more shorter term. But '98 was obviously the first sort of World Cup that I watched
Yeah.
proper. 2002 was, I was playing then, whereas in '98 I wasn't playing football, so it meant a lot more to me to to talk to my mates about it, to in school playing in the playground, pretending whoever you are,
Yeah.
all those sort of feelings. And yeah, we went on. I felt like we should have won that tournament. To be fair, obviously we lost to Brazil. We beat Denmark, didn't we, the next round, and
We did.
then we lost to Brazil, which to be fair, we went 1-0 up again, and they got 2 goals. One of them, which was obviously the famous Ronaldinho sort of cross stroke
Yeah.
lob. Um, there's just so many little moments where we still could have won it. Obviously they had Ronaldinho got sent off. It was just, I kind of felt like it was the golden generation as well. When you look back at that squad, it was like,
Yeah.
that and the following World Cup was the real peak of our sort of squad depth and sort of like
We were
world
so,
classness, if you like.
we were
So that's
so
my
good
sort
that
of
first half as well,
favorite
right?
memory.
That first half against Brazil was so good, and then they scored just before half time, and it
Yeah.
just took everything out of us.
We just
Yeah.
second half, we just didn't come out, did we really? We almost sort of bottled it a little bit and caved in. And I don't know, the Brazil being the way they are, sort of a nation of
Yeah.
winners, they've got
Yeah.
good pedigree. They just did what they do
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just sort of ground it out, didn't they? But yeah, disappointing. But so it was a disappointing end. But the Argentina game was, a great memory for me.
It,
Like I say, being able to watch it at school, and it
yeah.
was just unheard of, really, for us at that school to be allowed to do that. Whether he was told he was allowed to do that, Mr. Ullman, the science teacher, but fair play to him for doing it.
I can tell you now, like in those days, you were rogue. There's many more rogue teachers than there are now. For disclosure, I'm also a teacher, but and I managed to sneak a few little football matches in my time while I was like teaching, but it's different times now. So he'd have
Yeah,
done that. And you know what? That's I won't go into this as a teaching podcast, but sign of a good teacher, read the room. Know he's got a room full of children. They're going to love it. And here we are, 24 years later, you're talking about that. Just very quickly on the Argentina game, it's not about me, but as you would expect, I would have a memory of that. I was living in Leeds at the time, and my brother Perry came up on the coach. He did an all-night coach trip, turned up at Leeds, 8 in the morning. We've gone into the city centre, big screen in the city centre,
brilliant.
and just watching it. And it was I just finished my second year exams, and it was let's just say we had a good day. But anyway, Daniel, enough about me. What about you? What's your favourite football memory from the World Cup?
Do you know, similarly, actually, just 4 years earlier, I
Yeah.
think, do you know the Owen goal
Oh,
against Argentina is
yeah.
probably the one. It's first time, I think, because so the first World Cup was '94, but obviously not a lot to talk about there from an England perspective.
Yeah.
And having watched Ray Houghton score against Italy, and kind of, I remember sitting on the couch at a party with Jack, actually just watching it, Ray Houghton break Italian hearts at that point, and mine and Jack's at the time. We were massive Baggio fans. And then to sort of watch England in the World Cup 4 years later and watch this kid kind of just come out of nowhere, really. Obviously, he'd done well in the Prem and kind of ripped it up, and he was very much sort of a wonder kid at that time. But to do what he did against a well-oiled and super talented and experienced Argentinian defence, and just that goal, I think, was the first time I really felt like, because after the heartbreak in '96 as well. I mean, that was sort of that first real bit of like genuine hope and excitement. So that's probably the one that really sticks in my head. I don't think there's many that sort of that got that much excitement about afterwards. Obviously, the game didn't end as we wanted to, but just as a moment, that was there. Unbelievable.
It's funny, isn't it? Because Argentina, and I was like writing my last blog. Have a look, lonelygoalpost.co.uk. 40 years of hurt. But 40 years ago, my sort of when I got into football, and 1986 Argentina again. So Sean talks about him in 2002, Daniel 98, and obviously I remember those two in 1986. Again, I won't go into too much. We know what Maradona did with the hand of God, but in those days I was very naive. I was only about I was about think I was 8 or 9. I've got to try and remember, and 8, and I didn't really understand. Like, obviously, handball. I can't handball it in football, but I didn't really know the magnitude. But I knew something dodgy had happened, and I was just sat in this pub watching it in a little square TV in the corner with my dad, and it was just, again, it's funny, isn't it? We've all been out, we've all watched football together, and it's on big screens now, but again, Argentina, and it's just that history, isn't it? And we don't get political about like the Falklands or anything, but when you talk football, pure football rivalry, it's just something like no other. So, will there come cross again in this World Cup? Now, that
It's got a funny
is,
way of doing that, though, hasn't it? Those rivalries that happen outside of football, they has a funny way of just making those teams play on a regular basis. Germany, we did that.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at England's group, and we can sort of go into England a bit now. And I'll be honest, I was trying to work out the pathway to the final. I'm not being funny.
It's not great.
It's not great, and I couldn't even work it out because there's all these different group scenarios. But what obviously they're in Group L, and they've got Croatia, Ghana, and Panama, and I was sort of looking then where they could go next, and I was presuming if they won L1 versus a third place team, and I thought I'm not going to go there, and then I was thinking if they finish second, sort of L2, and I'm sort of looking, Croatia a tough team, Ghana a tough, and as I said, it's about your views in a minute. I was thinking, well, if Portugal finish second in their group, there's a potential second round game. Colombia, we've been there with them before, but there's enough sort of predictions or permutations to have, and we can save those, I think, after maybe the first or second game. But talk to me about England's chances. Sean, where do you think they're going to go? What are your hopes?
I mean, look, I've had a little look myself at the path and the potential sort of team or country who's going to play. Bloody hell, it's tricky, isn't it? World Cups, there's always one nation that does better than it should and whatnot. But for me, when I was thinking about that earlier, I thought, I think we'll win the group. I think we'll do well in the group, to be honest. I think we'll win that. I think it's if we qualify top of the group, I think it's Dominican Republic of Congo we would face potentially.
They're another
based
one
on
as well.
if they finish second or third.
And
then you're looking at a potential of Argentina. Brazil, Argentina, Spain. That would be the route to the final. Spain being the final. Obviously, if they all go through and whatnot.
Potentially with Mexico in the last 6.
I think we're going to get knocked out quarterfinals. I'm going to put it on there. I'm sorry to say, I can't say it's beating Brazil. That's where it would sort of. Where we would sort of line up if all the results go the way they should.
See, I fancy us against Brazil. I think strangely, I think that's I don't think Argentina are going to be what they were.
No, for sure.
That's happened. I don't think Brazil are.
Argentina will be horrible though.
They will be.
Sorry to interrupt.
None of them are easy games, right?
No.
I think.
Sorry, you was on the flow then.
Yeah. I just wouldn't want to see. I wouldn't want to. I think there's a potential of Mexico in in around 16, which I think is a tricky one.
In
that heat, that's if we finish second in the group, though.
No, that's if we win it. So if we finish second, our route's actually a lot. Essentially Spain in the.
We finish second. Our route's better, isn't it?
But, I heard. I read or heard the other day that if England and Spain were to win all of their games, that's the plot. That's the final potentially.
Yes.
But. Which wouldn't be bad, but it just goes to show, isn't it? Like you're all saying, like we're trying to suss it all out, and it's so difficult, isn't it, to try and think which one. But what about the squad then? What are your thoughts about the squad, Dan? Where are we with the squad?
It's an interesting one. I think I like what Tuchel's doing. I think I like that. I like the fact that he's trying to build a team as opposed to just bringing our best players on paper, which I think is fair to say he's probably left 2 or 3 of those genuinely sort of talented players at home, which I get that. I think they've not, a couple of those players haven't shown for England what they should have done, particularly over the last year. So I kind of understand that. And I'd like to see put people there on merit. I mean, the one person I probably would have liked to have seen outside of that would have been maybe Adam Morton in place of someone like Henderson, but I get why Henderson is in the squad. I get that. I feel like when in that heat, you maybe just need someone who's a bit clever, who can unlock a door, and I'm not sure. The only thing I feel like we haven't got is in that heat is where the football's going to be slow. I don't think it's going to be fast paced. I think we're going to need a team that's going to be solid and plays together. And I think we've maybe got that. I think we've got some very good players. We've always got a chance. We've got someone like Harry Kane, who's going to score. He's going to score and he'll drop deep and move it around. I struggle to see when we have to break down teams where we might be able to do that. I think that's the only concern.
I'll jump in on that, and I sort of agree. And I was thinking, like you with the sort of debate about the number 10s, right? Like you got Bellingham's a brilliant player. Is he world class or not? He's there or thereabouts, isn't he? He's outstanding. Rodgers is a great player, but when I look at those two players, they are like machine-like. They are big blokes, powerhouses. They get into the box. Now, obviously, they do create, but I think. But I think they're more like that explosive player when you want that little tricky. I'm sort of thinking about Phil Foden, but he's had chances. So I'm not here to say him, but that person on the ball, like you said, Walton, should unlock something. Whereas you can't just sort of steamroll someone. But however, maybe you can. I don't know. This is the interesting thing about it, isn't it?
I think it could be a good opportunity for someone like Kobe Mainoo, though, right? Because I think he's clever enough to do something like that. I don't think he'll start for England, but he's definitely someone that I think can work himself into the starting 11. If the longer we go in, I think he'll show that he should be playing there.
Yeah. So Sean's gone quarterfinals. Come on then, Dan. What about you?
Do you know what? I think if we finish top, I think semi-finals. I think that's probably what we'll get to.
Ooh.
I think if we finish second, if we get Spain, then we're out in the last 16. I think Spain beat us 9 times out of 10. I just think they're a better rounded team. I don't think we found a way to beat them. Outside of that, so I'm thinking semi-finals. I don't think it's a particularly strong World Cup. I think it's probably the best way to put it. I don't think the standard of football isn't where I remember it. So despite there being 48 teams and it being this,
I think on that though, the 48 team. When I was looking at some of the nations in it, it's just entered that pool to make the standard less. I don't know, like it's obviously just to create more revenue, more games, more game time and stuff for TV, but it just makes it just sort of takes away the shine of how you've achieved to get to the World Cup. Ultimately it's so I'm not in favour of the new sort of numbers for the number of teams in there.
We liked what we liked, didn't we? You knew that top 2 go through, and that was it. I remember 1990 there's some and 1986 they're like some third place teams doing it, getting through and stuff like that. So whereas now it's all a bit confusing. I suppose time will come. But just jump in quickly on. So we've got England's in and around the quarterfinals, which we could talk about that another time. Last 8, when you look at some of those teams, you've got your France's, your Spain's, Brazil, Argentina's, Portugal's. I think if you're in amongst those conversations, you're doing all right. Let's just we'll just move in very quickly. Tips to win, not too much detail, but which I know I've just basically just picked out a greatest hits of football there, haven't I, and things like that. But where are you, Dan? Quickly, what teams are you going to be looking at?
Spain. I think Spain is where if I was going to put money on it, it'd be Spain.
Yeah.
I think weather-wise, it suits climate. I think, and I think just the way they play football. I think, and they're a class act. That's where I put them.
All right, Sean.
Can't really say a lot more else than that, mate. I'd add Spain, to be honest.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like the European champions, they've won Europe before, they've won the World Cup before. They've got a great mix of players who can play on the ground, fast wingers. They're just they're solid at the back. They're just they know how to win. So I can't see past Spain.
I'm not, I don't disagree, if I'm honest. There's 2 I'm just going to chuck, just because I can. I'll chuck Brazil in the mix. I just feel this World Cup might be interesting, and maybe we can have a chat about it at a later date. But I hate the cult of the manager, but I actually think now with cult of the manager, when you think you've got Ancelotti, you've got Tuchel, you've got some proper winners here, like big managers, like Tuchel for England, for example. I'm pretty sure Chelsea got to every cup final he was manager of. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's something there. So let's hope that happens. That continues. And then in Ancelotti, we know that he can win the raffle without buying a raffle ticket, can't he? Do you know what I mean? So I'm interested about Brazil, but I'm not. I'm going to say that, and also Portugal just remind me of Argentina 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the manager, but just the players they've got, and Sean's got his Manchester United shirt on. So Bruno Fernandes, as a fan, you'd like to see him continue that form on the big stage, but we're looking at Spain, right? But yeah, it'd be interesting. We'll come back on that. Look about top goal scorers, gents. Who would you think?
You know,
Mm,
I've plumbed for. I think if we're going to go, I think most of the goals are going to get scored at group stage. I think that's
Yeah.
probably usually where we start there. And
Yeah.
I fancy Memphis Depay. I think the Dutch have got a
Ooh.
really easy group.
He scores a lot
Uh,
of goals, doesn't he?
Scores a
he
lot of
does
goals for them.
score.
He's their undisputed numbers in that
Yeah.
number 9 start. Yeah, I just had a sneaky feeling. How far the Dutch get in that competition, I'm not sure, but in that group stage, there's
Yeah.
definitely goals in it, and I fancy him to get a few in the bag before
You
he
think like
tops out.
was it that who's that
The
Russian bloke?
Bulgarian, wasn't it? Was it?
There was something
Oh no,
scored
the
five
Russian
in
boy
one
scored
game.
five. Yeah, five
Five in
in
one game.
was it
Yeah.
94? Yeah.
Yeah. So we never know. What about you, Sean? What top goal scorer?
Yeah, like you say, in the group is probably where it's sort of, one really maybe. But I think France, Mbappe, they've got a
Yeah.
quite a decent group to be fair. I've got Mbappe
Yeah.
down for 7 goals to win the Golden Boot.
Whoa, that's good. There you go.
So he won it last tournament as well. I was toying with Lamau for Spain, but he's not 100% fit, is he? So
No.
I'm not sure how. And actually, to be fair, he's not actually that.
Yeah.
He hasn't got that great a record for Spain, goal scoring wise.
I
So
I heard Haaland is something like 15 to 1 to be
Yeah.
top goal scorer, and you just sort of think he can. If Norway score, it's him that's going to score, isn't it? But
yeah,
it
exactly.
depends how
It's
far
all
they're
to
going to
him,
go.
isn't it?
Yeah, Harry. I'm going to just stick with our boy Harry Kane. I just think in terms of top goal scorer, I'll link into players to watch. I think he is the best player in the world at the moment. I just think there's something about him. He's ice cold. I don't mind him dropping off. He makes things happen. I think with the runners behind, I just think he's had a great 61 goals this season. I think
Yeah.
if England are going to progress, that he's going to be amongst it. And I pray to God he continues his form. And he just seems
Mm.
a great bloke. So I'm going to
Do you
go
know, I
Harry
agree with
Kane.
that. I think he is. I'm with you. I think he
Yeah,
is the best player in the world at the minute. I think
yeah,
his non-forward play is so massively underrated that it is just it's criminal just how good he
nice.
is and how much he influences games.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have him. I just hope we make good use of him. That'd be
I,
nice.
I do think being in Germany, like he's had a few rests, he's been subbed a few games, and
Yeah,
he's not as flogged as he was at Spurs. And let's be honest, anyone's flogged when they play for Spurs. So he's going to be all right. But any other players to watch? Daniel, you're always good for a player, aren't you? You've always
yeah.
come on, educate me.
Oh, I think there's a couple. I'm not sure how much of an education it is. I think there's some names that are
Yeah,
there. I think because interestingly, I was thinking about Michael Elise as one of the top goal
Oh
scorers.
yeah, I've
yeah.
got him at
I,
least say.
I actually think
Ooh,
that he
ooh,
might drop out of the team and Turkey will come in. I think this could be a really
yeah,
good World Cup for Turkey, and I think Turkey is going to have a
yeah,
really good World Cup. I really like Arda Güler, sorry, at Turkey. I think Turkey
yeah.
have got a strong chance. I think he's a really good player again
Mm,
in that heat and the way he plays. And then I'm interested to see what the lads that everyone's talking about at the Ivory Coast at Diamande. I'd like to see
yeah,
what he gets up to.
Is
They've
that
got a
has
good
he been linked with someone, isn't he? Is that the lad who's
yeah.
been
yeah,
linked with
He's been linked with well, pretty much everyone.
yeah.
To be fair,
yeah,
but
Liverpool,
he's
isn't it? Is it the one who's been linked with
yeah,
Liverpool?
I think you're
yeah,
right. Yeah.
Liverpool, and I think he's been linked with.
So,
I think he's
yeah.
got linked with pretty much United and everyone else, isn't he? At this point, I think
So,
everyone gets linked with United.
so
To be fair,
Sean, you mentioned Elise. Was that the one you were gonna
I had him, mate. I mean,
highlight?
he's
Yeah,
watching him for Bayern this year. He's
brilliant
phenomenal.
player.
He's like
Yeah,
every time he gets the ball, something happens, and
yeah,
he's very creative, direct. He's very hard to stop. He's scored a lot
yeah,
of goals for Bayern as well. And I hope he does start. He deserves to start for them. I think he's a massive threat. So I had him as my sort of like one to watch. Apart from the obvious players, I
yeah.
think as a wouldn't necessarily be the first name on someone's lips, but yeah, one to watch out for sure.
Well,
definitely. But I think if he wins, if they do well, there's a real chance of someone like Elise winning like Ballon d'Or, right? So
yeah.
There's a lot of skin in that game.
So it's up for grabs now, as Brian Moore said in 1989. So
I mean, do you watch the Champions League? It was the Real Madrid
yeah,
Bayern game.
yeah,
And did you see Elise in that game? He was cutting in every single
yeah,
time and just doing that left-footed whip into a little bit like
yeah,
Robin used to for
Yeah, it
Chelsea.
was.
But
yeah.
you knew what was happening, but you just couldn't stop it.
No.
Well,
He's just that good and that quick, and he's just a couple of steps ahead of anyone.
They swapped the left back, didn't they? They took the left back out when it was. So it was it. Yeah, took the left. Yeah, it was a left back. No, yeah, it was left back out. They took the left back out. The Carreras didn't play him for the second game because at least they did a number on him in the first game.
yeah. Well, the thing is, he was just unplayable, wasn't he? But well, look, James. I think we're going to just leave people wanting a bit more on after that, because I think that's a good way, good place to sort of finish it off. But I think we're going to we're going to continue with this throughout the World Cup, because we have a few matches to talk about. But I just want to say, first of all, some great chat there. Great information. England quarterfinals, semi-finals. Elise is going to have 4 left backs, right backs on him, swapping sides. Diamande is going to get his move to whoever he wants. Harry Kane's just going to be the greatest guy ever. He might as well just play in his English gentleman's suit because we love him. And England are going to play Argentina. And I think that's a good way to just leave things for today, I would say. So I just want to thank you both for your time. Have you enjoyed it?
Loved it, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh no,
Always nice to chat. Always nice to chat, mate, isn't it?
Well, listener, if you've enjoyed that, then share the Lonely Goalpost love. And if you want to have a chat about football, why not? Why not get in touch? Okay, you can drop me. The Lonely Goalpost is on the socials. It's on Instagram, Facebook. Drop me a DM, a nice DM, please, and then I'll get back to you. But I'm going to leave it there. World Cup starts. We're looking forward to it. Daniel and Sean, pair of legends. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Iggy. Right.
Over and out,
Cheers.
mate.
Take care, boys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to The Lonely Goalpost. I really appreciate you spending your time with me as we share football memories and stories from the beautiful game. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and all major podcast platforms by searching The Lonely Goalpost. And if you'd like to explore more, head over to thelonelygoalpost.co.uk for articles, memories, and updates. Until next time, listener, keep the football memories alive, and I'll see you on the next episode.